Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to have to start updating all my decks because of the ban list. Summon Sorceress got banned, which honestly I wasn't really expecting yet. I was kind of maybe expecting after Nats, but it is what it is. But that doesn't mean like all my other decks have been hindered or anything. It's just like, it was just, to me, I just treated it as a free extender piece. But, so the deck today is going to be my Zombie World again, because again, Summon Sorceress is banned, but it does open up more slots for my extra deck space. So now I can like play other key pieces to my strategy. That way I can basically just OTK my opponent. Like before, this is my synchro variation. I'm not running instant fusion because like instant fusion is a great card in zombies. It really is, but it depends on like your preference. Like you'll either have to go with one strategy or another. So that's why I'm playing like full on synchro / links with this deck, and I feel like this is probably the more correct way to play zombies. And I did change up my strategy just a little bit because of the fact of how zombies can still compete. It's still a very viable rogue deck. So yeah. So let me go and show you what I got this time around. So I'm going to start off with 3 copies of Globe Bloom. This card is one of your best cards in the entire deck. So generally, you just, as long as Zombie World's out, you can banish, well, whenever this card is sent to the graveyard, you banish it, and you can add a level 5 or higher zombie monster, or if Zombie World is out on the field, you can summon that monster instead. So Globe Bloom is definitely one of the best cards to run. You definitely want to try to get this into your graveyard as quickly as you can. Next, we have Necro Banshee. You can banish this card from field or in the grave to activate Zombie World directly from your deck. And if she's already on the field with Zombie World, then Zombie World cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So Zombie World and Necro Banshee really go very well together. I just wish you could discard her to add Zombie World, or to activate Zombie World, but apparently you can't. Next up, 2 copies of Doom King Balazar. I don't want to run a third because 3 is actually very bricky. You'd rather just try to pitch it to the grave as quickly as you can. That way you can summon it during the next standby phase in defense mode. But he's great because he acts as 2 forms of disruption. Whenever a zombie monster activates an effect, you can banish or negate the effect. So you can go pretty well in tangent with Ash Blossom. So if you activate your own Ash Blossom, you can banish 1 card your opponent controls or in his graveyard. So he's like a pseudo Trishula, basically. Next up, we got the Shiranui package of Solitaire. Definitely want to run this at 3 to get your Unizombie out as quickly as you can. 1 Spirit Master. If it's banished, you get to pop 1 face-up card your opponent controls. 1 Spectral Sword. You mainly want to use it for its graveyard effect. You can banish this card plus 1 other zombie monster to summon a zombie synchro monster. So like your main target's always going to be Samurai Saga, and then try to go into Crystal Wing as quickly as you can. 1 Spectral Sword Shade, which restores some of your banished zombies. So like you tribute this card, summon 2 zombies as long as one of them is a Shiranui. So this lets you bring back Mizuki as well. So definitely an amazing card. Next, 3 copies of Unizombie. Definitely needed because you want to it helps you modify your levels and also ditch away your zombies as quickly as you can. So you can use this effect twice, 1 to discard, 1 to pitch from deck to the grave. And next up, 3 copies of Mizuki. This is your monster reborn of the deck, so you definitely want to run this at 3, and again with Spectral Sword Shade, you should be able to restore it fairly effectively. For hand traps, playing 3 Ash Blossom, and since this card pretty much is a hand trap in its own right, 2 copies of Vampire Throwerline. Went from 1 to 2 only because you definitely want to try to see this card as quickly as you can. It's very generic in zombies. Just pay your life points to power, basically just give them a huge power boost, and you can just go from there. And that's it for the monsters. Alright, so moving on to spells. I'm running 3 copies of Zombie World. This card is very important. This turns everything into zombie on the field and in the grave. This shuts down so many decks too because it shuts down True Dracos. They can't tribute summon. This hurts Thunder Dragons because they can't tribute into Thunder Dragon Colossus because their monsters aren't Thunder anymore. So yeah, Zombie World is definitely a very annoying card to deal with. It's a passive effect, so you can't Ghost Ogre once you activate it. So yeah. Another way to search it out is 2 Terraforming. This card really helps out a lot. It's helped me in so many duels. It's Ghost Meets Girl, a Shiranui story. You discard 1 zombie monster and special summon a Shiranui monster from your deck with a different name. So like you can discard your Globe Bloom with this card, but the only flaw with this card is that your opponent has to control a monster. But so you just set this on your own turn. If you go first, whenever your opponent summons a monster, you discard, and you just kind of go from there. And that way you're hopefully prepared with your Shiranuis. That way you can just kind of combo off on your next turn. So Shiranui, Ghost Meets Girl, definitely a very amazing card. You just got to know when to actually use it. 2 Called by the Grave. I really don't, since this deck is so good at playing around hand traps, and again, Doom King negates Ash Blossom and Ghost Spell. So, like, I feel like 3 was too much, so 2 should be just fine. For the 1-ofs, 1 for 1, you definitely want to get Glow Bloom out. 1 Foolish Burial, depending on, like, your hand and what you can combo off with, will depend on, like, when to actually use Foolish Burial. For trap cards, playing 3 copies of Paleozoic Dynamiscus. I decided to main deck this now because you definitely want to stay in control with this deck. It's another form of disruption. You just target 1 face-up card on the field, discard 1 card for cost, and again, you want to discard any of your combo pieces like Necro Banshee, Doom King, or even Glow Bloom. And then if you do, just banish the card you targeted. So definitely a great way to just get rid of free spot removal. And whenever you activate any other trap card, you can just special summon this card from your graveyard. So yeah. And then lastly, 2 copies of Shiranui style Swallow Slash. Tribute 1 zombie monster and pop 2 cards on the field. So definitely a great card. Alright. So moving on to the extra deck. You're still going to want to play 2 copies of Vampire Sucker. This just gives you a little extra draw power whenever a zombie monster is revived. Also acts as a Monarch Stormforce, so you can tribute your opponent's zombie monsters to summon out one of your own. 1 Link Karibo. Shinui's Skill Saga, just for built-in protection. Protects your Synchro monsters and your Fire monsters. Nightmare Phoenix and Unicorn for more spot removal, as well as Borlo Dragon, which is always great to have. We're running quite a lot of Synchros, but that's generally the idea. This deck is a Synchro deck, so you definitely want to try to get some of your best ones out as quick as you can. 1 Red Eye Zombie Necro Dragon. It's an OTK, depending on how many zombie monsters are in the graveyard. Samurai Saga, just a good way to, it's a level 6, so it also helps you get into Crystal Wing, since we do run a couple of level 2 Synchros. But once per turn during either player's turn, you can target 1 banished zombie monster, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, change to defense position all monsters your opponent controls. So definitely a good way just to like disrupt your opponent even more. 1 Squire Saga, it's like a pseudo Shogun Saga, just gets a power boost depending on depending on whatever you banish will determine one of the 3 effects, whether you're going to power up your zombie monsters, or you can destroy 1 spell or trap, and so on. 1 Shogun Saga goes really well with Spirit Mastery. Pop 1 card, and then you can just OTK your opponent from there. Beals gets around Boral Sword Dragon because he can't be destroyed in battle. Cyphering Lord Omega if you want to rip a card off your opponent's hand. Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. And then for time rules, and my main win condition for time rules, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. Pops all special summon monsters, and you burn your opponent for 500 points of damage for each one. So Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, I think, should be played in the extra deck, hands down. Alright, so for the side deck, it's a pretty standard side deck right now. Playing 3 Drone Lockbird. I think it's still one of the best hand traps. This shuts down so much like Danger Thunder or any search-based strategy. Twin Twisters, 3 Shared Ride, 3 Rivalry of the Warlords. Everything in your deck is zombies, so this card will really help you out. And then lastly, 3 Evenly Matched. And that's it. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what y'all think, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.